The Unseen Stare. Chapter 1. Moving in. As I stepped into my new apartment for the first time, the bright sunlight streaming through the large windows seemed to illuminate every speck of dust suspended in the air, highlighting all the possibilities it held. A blank canvas waiting to be painted with memories yet untold. A fresh start was what I craved after high school, and here it was finally within my grasp. I couldn't help but feel an unspoken excitement as I took in the spacious room that would soon become my sanctuary at college. My name is Lila, and this new chapter of my life represented a chance to rediscover myself outside the shadow of small-town gossip and expectations. The familiar creak of the door behind me made me turn around, and there he was, Mr. Simmons, with his wispy gray hair and tired eyes peering out from under bushy eyebrows. He nodded in greeting before disappearing into his apartment, leaving me to unpack. "Welcome, young lady," I heard him mumble as he stepped into his doorway for the second time that morning. "Make yourself at home." There was something about him that made my skin tingle, an uneasy feeling lingering beneath each encounter with this quiet man who lived across from me. Maybe it was the way he always seemed to appear suddenly, or the long, inquisitive stares he cast my way. His constant gaze often left me fidgety, but never caused too much concern. College life had begun, and I was determined not to let anything spoil this opportunity. Days blended together. Classes, new friendships, and late nights studying. Routine took over until one night when the shadows of my apartment grew long with the setting sun. In that dim light, I noticed him watching me through his window again. My heart quickened, but I dismissed it as a mistake. How could someone be so observant, yet seemingly invisible? The man didn't venture outside often and mostly kept to himself, an enigma wrapped in mystery. Days turned into weeks. My routine remained consistent while Mr. Simmons became more of an occasional thought. Until that fateful Wednesday evening when I found myself lost in thought by the window, a book forgotten on my lap. He was there again, leaning against his sill with eyes fixed on me. Fixated, really. This time, though, it lingered beyond what felt like reasonable observation. Unaware of how long he stood there, I shivered at the sudden chill that seeped through my sweatpants and Tita shirt. Shaking off the unease, I closed my book, but instead of turning to face him directly, a nervous glance in his direction was all I could muster. He nodded once before withdrawing back into shadows, leaving me wondering if I imagined it entirely. Shadows danced across the walls as night fell, mocking my tired eyes. In the morning light, I convinced myself he had never been there at all, an illusion of loneliness. But they kept coming, these fleeting glimpses of Mr. Simmons, his watchful gaze. It wasn't until weeks later that I realized how often it had become routine to see him, even catch glimpses of him in passing as we crossed paths in the hallway or on our respective balconies. He never spoke, simply stared with eyes older than age could tell. My roommates began noticing too. Whispers exchanged when he was out of sight. "Mr. Simmons thinks you're pretty," Sophia would say, or Rachel would add her 2 cents with a playful smirk. It was as if their teasing brought the unease to light and solidified the unsettling feeling I'd harbored for weeks. Perhaps it was my first semester jitters playing tricks on me. At night, when darkness descended and the building hushed into a peaceful slumber, his gaze became relentless. My dreams were filled with fleeting images of him watching from afar. In the library, in the kitchen while cooking dinner, even as I walked home late at night. In my mind, it was clear that Mr. Simmons was stalking me. The peculiar stares continued to plague me throughout September and October, slowly taking a toll on every decision. My grades slipped, Friendships withered under the weight of paranoia, and social events became few and far between, all because I couldn't escape his eyes. They haunted my dreams as well, his pale face floating above me while I slept. Sometimes he would be there when I opened those heavy drapes, a silhouette against the night sky, only to vanish when caught staring. My roommates tried to reassure me that everyone needed some solitude in life, but their laughter at night echoed through thin walls, and I knew I wasn't imagining it. One evening, walking back after class, he was on his balcony watching me. So intently, he must have known the intricacies of every step. With a jolt, I quickened my pace, heart pounding against the collarbone that exposed my neck under an unseasonal hoodie. In those few strides to safety, I felt his gaze still upon me, even though I was alone in my apartment. It seemed Mr. Simmons was everywhere when night fell and my walls grew thick with shadows. The last days of October approached, ushering in the first frosty breaths of autumn. I couldn't focus on schoolwork. The stare became an obsession, day or night, as if rooted to me by a force beyond reason. It felt like he could see right through the thin fabric of reality and into my soul. My mind played tricks. Surely it did. Yet, when I pulled down the shades to drown out his silent vigilance, I couldn't shake the feeling eyes were pressed against the glass, waiting for their moment. This madness had to end soon. In a fit of frustration, I lugged boxes and drenched them with dust as I unpacked, not looking forward to my room becoming an even more chaotic reflection of my mind. Late one evening, after finishing classes, I returned home to find a note on the kitchen counter. Simple yet ominous. We'll talk when we must. A single sheet of paper, no signature or date. My hand trembled as I read it, my mind racing with questions but no answers. The first chilly gusts of winter swept in as the sun dipped below the horizon. Chapter 2. The Stairs. Chapter 2. Obsession. Chapter 3. Unseen Visitor. Chapter 3. The Old Man.